If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Hey everybody, and welcome to PWZ. Today is May 6th. It's Thursday, and we've got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. We're going to have a history spot. We're going to be talking about some championship wrestling from Hollywood. Got an upcoming match list for tonight's Northeast Championship Wrestling. Going to go through the history spots, and of course, we're going to, like I said, the history spot is probably my favorite, and we got a couple other news items that we're going to be going through today. All right. So I want to say a big shout out to Top Rope Report, Mike Okada, and Greg Chester, the also known as Mr. Trivia and the Nugster, doing some great work over there, talking Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and of course the independent circuit. Great bunch of guys over there.
Hey everyone. You want to listen to the best in pro wrestling talk? Tune in to the Top Rope Report podcast with Mr. Trivia and the Nugster Greg every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. on TalkShoe.com, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast. Join us as we discuss WWE, NXT, PAPW, independent wrestling, and a whole lot more. It's the Top Rope Report, the best in pro wrestling talk.
Now, I also want to mention that we are currently having a 30% off sale on t-shirts in our TeePublic store. You can go there today. It's the last day for the sale. The link will be in the description of this episode. If you go ahead, click that link. All t-shirts are $14. Also, mugs, face mask, and other such things are on sale as well. Now, if you want a free sticker, you can email us directly, prowrestlezone@gmail.com for that sticker. Include your address, and I'll drop it in the mail same day or next day. And, you can put it on your car, you can put it on your notebook, you can put it on your laptop. Let everybody know that you are a listener of the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast and a lover of PWZ. So I caught up with, this weekend's Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Opened up with a women's match, Milo Matters versus Viva Van, with Viva Van was, of course, accompanied by Halston Body and James Evine. I don't know if they pronounced that right. This match, Milo Matters was disqualified because CC Chanel interrupts and went after Viva Van with a 2x4, and basically, and then when ended up going off after, Bobby Halston with the 2x4, but he threatened her not to hit him. She's going to get what she wants. She's going to get her match at Coastline Clash. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure when that is. I know they spoke about it on the TV show. Up next was a tag team match. Wasted Youth. Adril Noctis and, Sketch. This tag team, there's so much going on in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and the United Wrestling Network. But the outfits that this guy was wearing, it looked like he was wearing like one of them fishnet tops. Something like a goth kid would wear. I did not particularly care for it. It was somewhat ridiculous. But they lost the match to Honest John and the new Anthony Idol. Anthony Idol recently turning heel. Idol is proud of what he's done in joining Honest John and joining his crew, but they have a thing and got to take off. In the post-match interview.
Anthony Idol, Honest John, congratulations on this match.
Man, the neon vibrations are flowing through my veins, dude. I've been hitting the weights 5, 6, 7 days a week, man. I'm transferring the heat energy from my body into cold steel, man. And I am changing the universe one day at a time. What's up, baby?
You get that thing?
The thing.
The thing?
We got a thing. We got a
Wait,
We gotta go. We gotta go.
What thing? What thing?
A thing.
Wait, oh, okay.
What was that?
What was that?
So,
You're asking me.
wait. So, you guys, wasted youth. We haven't seen you in a while.
It's been
So-
2 years.
Wait,
You're a tag team, and that's the effort that you're putting in? That's what you do? You can't work together? You guys don't have it. You can't hang here if you're not a cohesive team. Everybody, Adnan says it. Adnan says, go back to your jobs and Zoomies and Hot Topic.
Definitely some dissension in the ranks of Wasted Youth as Noctis comes backstage for an interview and he's yelling at Sketch. I didn't think that this was that bad of a segment. I thought it was kind of alright. Get you prepared to see what's going to happen in the future. It was a lot of fun. So the next match, Robin Shaw defeated Piranha Karana. I love this Piranha Karana guy. He got made fun of by Robin Shaw. Basically, what is he, a fish that can play baseball?
Now, I've seen a lot of really stupid things in my time on the Friendship Farm before I burned it down. But I've never seen a baseball-playing fish. What are you, some kind of bootleg Dasher Hatfield? But you're not even a very good professional wrestler. Piranha Karana, I'm going to make an example out of you.
And I love this gimmick. I know it's kind of corny, it's kind of childish, whatever, but it's a lot of fun. I think so, at least. So, Fame is interviewed, the faction, and, they're going to be here. They're going to tear the house down. They're getting ready for it. Watson went in and defeated Jordan Cruz. This was actually probably my favorite match of the night of this show. A lot of fun. There was Jordan Cruz, he's one of those guys. He's been around a while. He's made a pretty good name for himself. He's not terrible. Watson pretended to have something in his eye, and then the ref assisted him, to make sure he was okay, and the other guys in Fame interfered and assisted basically in his loss. Watson took it from there. He went at it for like another minute or so. After the match was over, Hollywood Heritage Champion, Richie Slade and Flex came out and attacked Cruz and claimed that he's the chosen one. Basically, he's going to be getting a title match at Coastline Clash. Then there was an interview with Cece Chanel. She wasn't the interviewer, I'm not familiar with her name. She's not very good. She's not very talented. She's very dry, and she seems like she struggles to go through with the interviews. With some more practice, maybe. The CC Chanel, she was alright cutting this promo. And of course, now for the main event, Devin Sparks and Mike Camden, the Hogsmen, take on the Bodega, Slice Boogie and Papa Esco. And there's no Danny Limelight. I'm assuming they said that he was conspicuous by his absence. My guess is that he was just filming AEW over there. Slice Boogie, I've mentioned him several times. He's been making waves in the NWA. I think he could be really good for the National Wrestling Alliance. I think he's really good here. He's stepping in for Rivera here as the champion. They're using the Freebird rule, basically. So, this guy, I think that he's got such a great amount of talent that I think that he's going to be something someday, no matter where he ends up. I mean, he's still young, so he's not going to be, hitting WWE, NXT, or AEW, tomorrow, but give it a couple years, and I think that he's going to be somewhere. So let me read the results here. Honest John comes out. He's watching, and then he disappeared. He's basically scouting the talent. He's not loyal to Anthony Idol, it seems, or unless he's just recruiting to make a bigger crew. We'll have to see in the coming weeks. Let's see what else. And then, Cwfh comes out, and he's hiding behind the ring. He goes to grab the leg of, what's his name? Slice Boogie. Slice Boogie looks at him like, are you kidding me? And grabs him by the hair and pulls him up. And then Eddie Pearl and Ricky Gibson, Midnight Heat, come out. And then the show ends in like this gigantic brawl. It was this match I really was enjoying. The Hogsmen and this version of the Bodega, Slice Boogie and Papa Esco. Papa Esco is, for a guy his size, he's pretty menacing. Midnight Heat, I really like a lot. I think those guys are, they come out kind of like wearing like Midnight Express type tights, like with the stripes and the color. They're enjoyable to watch. They're one of my favorite tag teams that are not currently in like a major promotion. So they're a lot of fun to watch. Tonight, Northeast Championship Wrestling presents Behind Closed Doors at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. Northeast Championship Wrestling is a promotion out of Massachusetts. They've been running a weekly series called Behind Closed Doors, and it looks like a hall, VFW Knights of Columbus type hall. They've run some pretty good matches. I'm going to keep my personal thoughts to myself for while I'm running down this lineup. So, the NCW Tag Team Champions, Waves and Curls, they're going to defend the tag team titles against two-time former NCW Tag Team Champions, the Little Giants. It's going to start off the show tomorrow. Waves and Curls I'm very familiar with. They work Connecticut Indies, Northeast Wrestling, and Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. I see them all the time. They're basically at every Paradise Alley show. Those guys are great. They're entertaining. They're very funny. They're just cool dudes. So this is the match that I'm going to tell you. Once I say it, I'm not going to, go into my personal thoughts about this. But once I say the match, I think you all know. The NCW Women's Title Tournament continues this Thursday, tonight, on Behind Closed Doors, with the quarterfinal matchup between the Suplex Sweetheart Asana against Higher Society BFF Paris Vandals Armani Chaos. Now, I have a problem with that, and I'm going to keep it brief. I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm not a fan of intergender matches. And the fact that this match is supposed to be for the women's tournament, and this guy, it's a guy wrestling in the women's tournament, I just find that insane. But I'm predicting that something's going to happen here that makes it go away, that makes the match not happen, or obviously makes this guy lose. Despite last week's attempts at getting this match going, we've been assured that tonight, on Behind Closed Doors at the Badass of Broadway, Tim Kilgore will go one-on-one with Billy Wenkar. Now, go check out this show. Please, check it out. It's a lot of fun, with the exception of certain things that I don't particularly like. That's the nature of the business these days. That's the nature of independent wrestling. I don't like to see men beat up on women, and that's my problem. I grew up in an abusive household. So, when I see things like this, it kind of irks me. And it's not that, and I get that a lot of people are into that thing these days, that style. I just can't. I'm not necessarily a fan of it. It kind of just, I just don't understand it. And sometimes it's just a little too unrealistic to, for me, for certain events that happen.
Captain Carnage, Dr. Tweed, The Mask, Miss Linda and Adrian Street, the Human Bomb Shelter, Jake the Snake, ask Mad Dog DeCurso if it's real or fake. Golden Greek told us the giant goon Dick Hoff, El Toro the grunt, but something crazy going. They're gonna be going after you. Wrestling tonight. Everything is bigger than life. Wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and wrestling tonight. Flying drop kick, suplex, mare, stomping on the throat, pulling on the hair. Figure 4 scissors, back break the knee, down for the count, and it's a 1, 2, 3. Interview time between each match. Stay tuned, can't tell who you might catch. Why, look what dropped in, just to say howdy. It's a Dickie Murdoch, and he's gonna get rowdy. Yeah, you kids, you think you're so beautiful, narcissizing every day, pumping up. Look at this neck, look at my pecs, look at my shoulders, look at my head. Gorgeous Joe, woo! A pretty Blassie, also classy. Set the stage for the current rages. Wrestling tonight. Everything is bigger than life. Wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and wrestling tonight. Rock and roll. Wrestling tonight. Everything is bigger than life. And it's wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and 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 wrestling.
Wrestling is the greatest sport in America, and America is the greatest country in the world, and I'm proud to be an American. Oh, beautiful.
Wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and wrestling tonight. Wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and wrestling tonight. Wrestling tonight.
This day in professional wrestling, I'm going to run down some birthdays before I get into the rest, okay? Born this day, May 6, 1964, former WCW and WWF Tag Team Champion of the Nasty Boys Tag Team, Bryan Knobbs. Born May 6, 1980, my son's favorite wrestler, Boom Boom, Colt Cabana. May 6, 1983, Tongaloa. May 6, 1984, Kevin Owens, a.k.a. Kevin Steen. And born May 6, 1988, current NXT superstar Dakota Kai. A big event that happened on this day, May 6th, 1985, World Class Championship Wrestling holds the very first Parade of Champions, the David Von Erich Memorial. The event saw Brother Kerry defeat NWA World Champion Ric Flair to become the new NWA World Champion. Also on the card, Fritz, Kevin, and Mike Von Erich defeat the Freebirds, Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Rogers, to become the WCCW Six-Man Tag Team Champions. Buck Zumhofe and Iceman King Parsons defeat Bill and Scott Irwin to become American Tag Team Champions. You know, I haven't mentioned Buck Zumhofe that often on the show previously, but in the last couple days, his name has come up quite a few times. The Junkyard Dog beat the Missing Link by disqualification. Kamala and the Great Kabuki battled to a draw. And Hacksaw Butch Reed defeated Chick Donovan. That's a name that a lot of people probably don't even know. Chris Adams and Sunshine defeated Jimmy Garvin and Precious. If I can just bring it up one more time, we're having a sale on our t-shirts. Currently 30% off shirts, masks, mugs, etc. in our T Public store. The link is in the show description. If you want a free sticker, hit up ProWrestleZone@gmail.com. with your address, and we'll drop it in the mail for you. Questions, comments, inquiries, hit up that same email. If you want to contribute to the show in any way, shape, or form as a guest, or you got news, or you have an independent promotion, you're an independent promoter, you're an independent wrestler, you want to come on here, promote your product, hit up that email or hit us up on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter at the Rick Del Santo, at PWZ Podcast, and hit up PWZ Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. I am very active on there. I run most of the pages, with the exception of the Twitter and Facebook. That's run by me and Andy. Andy has not been on the show in a while, but I'm hoping that he's going to be making an appearance again soon. He's been out for a little while. But rest assured, he'll be back. Trust me. He's working on some stuff to bring into the show. I'm going to mention right now some New Japan news. According to PW Insider's Oliver Taylor, 2 unnamed members of the New Japan roster have tested positive for COVID-19. They are experiencing mild symptoms, and other talent and staff have been monitored. It should also be noted that Okada was removed from yesterday's Wrestle Dontaku event and is scheduled to wrestle Will Ospreay the second night of Wrestle Grand Slam May 29th. Maybe it's a safety precaution, or maybe there's another reason, but was not named as one of the people. COVID, folks, I'm going to give my opinions here. COVID is no joke. I've known some people that have gotten sick from it. It's affected our entire world. Our ex-president at the time did not take it seriously, and that's why a lot of us are out here sick. We're wearing masks. Please get vaccinated if you can. It's not a joke. I'm telling you, I've known many people that have gotten sick, and a very good friend of the show, Sign Guy, he was telling me about it, that he has gotten it, and he said it's not a joke. You can't breathe. It's just a terrible thing. Actually, Will, which is a PWZ family member as well. So I advise you all to take it seriously. Be careful when you're out in public. I've been lucky, to not catch it, but I'm also very careful. I do have attended some public events, but I stay my distance and I'm very safe. I've also been vaccinated. If you have that opportunity, I advise you to get it. I know some people don't want to and they're afraid, but you really got to worry about your future, especially if you have kids or a family, loved ones, older people living that might be, immune deficient. So it's something very important that you really need to think about. It's not a joke. So we'll get back into the wrestling. I apologize for you having to listen to all my stuff, but it's just the way it is. In WWE news, Daniel Bryan has been moved to the alumni section of the WWE's website. It was speculated that his contract would end later in the year, September. But as of now, there are no plans for Bryan in WWE Creative. He wrestled his, quote, final match, unquote, on SmackDown last Friday against Roman Reigns, which was an excellent match. If you get a chance to see it, I think Daniel Bryan, I don't think he's ever put on a bad match. Let's just say that. And I think that he's helped the Roman Reigns character quite a bit. And if this is the case, good for him, doing something out of the ordinary, because most WWE stars will wrap up their contracts and wrestle one last match at, say, a WrestleMania or something similar, like a big gigantic event. With it being the biggest events of the year, is it true? Will really pop up on Monday Night Raw sometime in the near future to finish off the speculated time zone on the contract. The other thing is, people were expecting his contract to expire in September. Now, Bryan has gone on record, and I think he came out today saying that A lot of people thought that because his previous contract had expired in September, whatever year. He says that he has not gone into any more detail, but, I'd like to see him work another big program, another big match before retiring fully. I mean, God bless the guy. He's given a long time, to the fans. He's wrestled a lot of great matches in Ring of Honor, Japan, all over the place. People are really speculating that, he's going to go to AEW and wrestle a match. Oh, come on, And if he does, who cares, okay? It doesn't really matter if he does, but not for nothing, he has a WWE contract that he's going to be working behind the scenes when he retires fully. So my guess is that he's not really retired fully. And when that means WWE alumni, does that mean he's, does that not mean that as an active competitor? Or is it just anybody that's worked from WWE? I don't really pay attention to such details, but I know some of the nerds out there do in the IWC. So we'll have to see in the future. So I watched Southwest Wrestling Entertainment Fury TV this week. I got to tell you, this is one of the best promotions out there, going out there today. It really is. It's run by James Beard, former world-class referee. And if you like old-style, Texas-style wrestling, this is the promotion for you. If you like the National Wrestling Alliance, this is for you. It's a really good show. There's some, you don't get overkill on former WWF guys like some independents do. But you do get, Charlie Haas is a very big part of the show. Kevin Sullivan is one of the commentators. Personal opinion, he should be taken off of commentary. Maybe he should deal with the booking end of things or something to that effect. The commentary is not his thing. But I do think that some of the talent that they have in there, on occasion, people like Thunder Rosa will make an appearance. Tim Storm will make an appearance. Jazz, who is a former NWA World Champion and WWE Women's Champion. So, Rodney Mack is heavily featured in there, and he's a really good talent. But some of the homegrown talent that they have there is really good. Charlie Haas defeated Christian Mox. He forced him to tap out in the opening match, and it was a good, nice, quick match. It was a lot of fun to watch. SWE Women's Champion. This is a flashback from last week. Miranda Gordy, the daughter of Terry Bam Bam Gordy, speaking of the Freebirds, she lost her women's title against Christy Janes after being distracted by Vert Vixen. This match, it was going as a great match. They showed the whole match in its entirety, even though I guess it aired last week. They showed the match in its entirety. Miranda Gordy is a very talented wrestler. She's going to be picked up by one of the big major feds at some point. So it's amazing that watching a organization like SWE, them not being necessarily a really big organization, they pull in some big crowds in this arena. And it looks like they might have been, maybe in a gym or like a local PAL center. Something to that effect. And they darken out the setup that they have. It looks like just like watching an older, say, NWA program with like the crowd being somewhat darkened out, but you can still see the crowd at the same time, and the focus is on the ring. You know what I mean? WWE does these things where they have to have the lights on everywhere, because you need to see how many people are actually in the arena. They love showing tons of people, how many thousands of people, and it's not about that. The whole entire thing, well, that's because they're an entertainment company. We'll just say that. The whole thing is about them being an entertainment company. My personal opinion is that It's what happens in the ring. But that's the difference between WWE and other wrestling organizations. You get what I'm saying here? So, that's my opinion. I'm getting off from subject yet again. I always get off the subject when talking about wrestling because I compare a lot of the wrestling that I cover on here to WWE and say what the difference is and what's the right thing as opposed to... I mean, I guess WWE's doing it right because they're making millions of dollars or billions of dollars every year. I just don't particularly care for it. On top of that, Blood Hunter, which is the former Hannibal, he took on this guy, Michael Schaefer. Now, this guy's a big dude, Michael Schaefer. And I didn't realize that Hannibal was such a big dude. But damn, this Michael Schaefer's a big dude. And they went back and forth for quite a while. Schaefer, as big as he is, went for a moonsault with like a cricket. It's not a bat, but it's a paddle. Excuse me. Ended up missing and hitting himself in the face. Yada, yada, yada. Bloodhunter put a submission hold on him and bit the shit out of his head, causing him to bleed. Now, I'm not necessarily a fan of like really big dudes, but man, this was a pretty fun match to watch. It wasn't anything crazy, with the exception of the blood, and he just kept beating him after. But it was enjoyable, and it got the point across. So Davey Boy Smith Jr., makes the save for Schaefer and went after Blood Hunter, and they repeatedly just went after each other. So now I guess they're setting up the storyline for the next event where it's Davey Boy Jr. and the Blood Hunter. That should be a pretty decent match, I think. It'll be enjoyable. I'd like to see that. And like I said, if you can watch SWE Fury every Thursday on the Fight app. But you can also, they upload the episodes later in the week, actually earlier the following week, onto YouTube. So, if you don't have the Fight app, I think it's worth getting the Fight app. They have a lot of free content on there. There's a lot of pro wrestling that you could discover on there. There really is. I discovered, and I'm going to talk about one of the promotions next, actually, that I discovered. But there's a lot of really great organizations that you can find out there on Fight. You can watch Ring of Honor on there. The NWA's on there. Not that the NWA is free. It's not free. It's $4.99, but we're not going to... I talked about that yesterday. But there's a lot of really great content on the Fight app. You can watch OVW. You can watch... There's a lot of independent wrestling. Anarchy Wrestling was on there. I don't know if they're producing any TV now since the pandemic started, but I would like for them... I would like to say that they're going to be at some point. They put on a really good product. If you're a fan of the older NWA Wildside and NWA Anarchy, it's the same organization, basically. And you get a lot of really cool stuff. But, there's so much that you could discover on Fight that you should really go there and explore it. It's free. I mean, YouTube, you can discover a lot on YouTube as well. But anyways, let's get to the next match on this one. That was the Blood Hunter match. The next match was the SWE Tag Team match. Alright. It was the Golden Heartthrobs took on the OMGs. And this is a tournament final for the tag team titles. Now, one of the guys, I guess, were stripped of the... I'm not familiar because I hadn't watched it, that particular thing. I guess it was a few months back. One of the guys from the Heartthrobs tried to substitute his partner in a tag team match, and because apparently he looked like him, and of course everybody knew that it wasn't him, so they ended up just stripping him of the belts, and they had a tournament for the last couple months, and the OMGs are the new tag team champions. Now, let me just say this, okay? I was talking earlier when talking about this show that they get a really good crowd for an independent in Texas. They really do. But it seemed like they went from, I don't know if the matches are filmed and then placed out of order. Like they take, because this one, for such a great match that this actually was, the crowd seemed dead, and then it seemed like it was a half arena. Unless it's just one of those cases where the show was going long and some of the fans left. Or if it's from a different TV taping. It was definitely the same building. Or it could have been recorded earlier in the night when the crowd wasn't as big. That does happen on occasion. So, it's one of those things. I really like this promotion, wanted to see them succeed, and that kind of like baffled me. Nobody really answered. Nobody really... Excuse me. Sorry about that. I'm getting a text message as I'm trying to avoid while I'm recording. But nobody... I couldn't really find any information out about that. But either way, it was a really good match. And they announced that Teal Piper, obviously everybody's familiar with her. It's the daughter of Roddy Piper. She's going to be having a segment starting next week on the show. And this one kind of made me cringe. Teal's Pit. It's supposed to be the same thing as Piper's Pit. And they're going to be doing it at Southwest Wrestling Fury. My question is why? Why? So, I'm going to leave that there because it was just ridiculous. Devotion Championship Wrestling is another new organization. Apparently they have something like 30 or so episodes posted to Fight. And this is something I discovered today by accident, actually. Exactly how I said, just poking around on Fight. I was watching the Southwest Fury show, and this was in the suggested right after it ended. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, from research, now I don't know 100%, but during the research that I did, I think this used to be Rocky Mountain Pro, which was, a group out of Utah, but I think that this might be a rebooted version. So I'm not 100% certain on this, but I spoke to someone from the organization today, and they're going to be coming on the show. Hopefully that'll happen next week. So as soon as I know, you'll know. But anyways, I enjoyed this, and I have a feeling that it looked like it was done in the back of a church. It's called Devotion Championship Wrestling, and from what I gather, it's a part of OVW in a way, except for it's based out of Utah, and I think OVW is acting something like a governing body type thing. My guess is, just from watching it, that this is kind of religious based in a way. Like there's definitely some heavy religious overtones, and I'm okay with that. And I'm guessing because the area that they're in Utah, that it's supposed to be something like that. It was enjoyable. I'm not upset about it. Like I said, I'm not necessarily a gigantically, hugely religious person. But it kind of brought a little weirdness to it, but at the same time, it was unique and enjoyable. So, in the opening match, two people... I've only heard of one person on this show, but I watched the entire show. It's only about 30 minutes, and it was enjoyable. I did not want to shut it off and get annoyed, So, in the opening match, it was Mr. Happy against Echo. Echo got the win. That was an okay match. Mr. Happy, I like a little bit more seriousness with my pro wrestling, and this was not necessarily, at least Mr. Happy was not the serious one. Echo had kind of one of those pseudo-goth type gimmicks. Okay? Second match was the DCW television title. Manny Lemons defeated Leah Wolf to become the champion. This, I thought, was a really, really good match. I spoke with Manny Lemons today, and he's the one that's going to be coming on the show. Hopefully this will be happening next week. I hope. Also, a Book of the Damned match for the Core Championship. Now this one, I've watched a lot of horror movies. I've watched, I have ex-wife that became a born again, so it kind of was like one of those things that I just kind of laughed. And between the two gentlemen, it was Brother Chatwin against Brother Austin. And if one of them wins, they can no longer follow the book for the rest of their lives. So there's a heavily religious overtone to this match. This one was more along the lines of a hardcore match. That's why they're calling it Book of the Damned. It was enjoyable. It was funny. There's a lot of, and the thing is, there was no blood. It was interesting. Like I said, it did not make me want to shut it off, because there's a lot of wrestling out there that makes me want to shut it off. Brother Chatwin retained the core championship against Brother Austin when his manager threw a fireball in his face, and then he got distracted, and then, he laid on the floor. And then they continued to kick the crap out of him before going to the end of the show. Go check it out. You can find them on social media. I'm looking forward to talking to them. I'm looking forward to watching more. And I want to find out how the relationship with OVW came about. I want to find out how they started the company and all that other stuff. All right, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. I had a blast talking this professional wrestling with you. Tune in Friday for some more. Right, same time, same bat channel, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more out there to you. We're looking to build more and more content every day.
Hey everyone, you want to listen to the best in pro wrestling talk? Tune in to the Top Rope Report podcast with Mr. Trivia and the Nugster Greg every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. on TalkShoe.com, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast. Join us as we discuss WWE, NXT, PAPW independent wrestling, and a whole lot more. It's the Top Rope Report, the best in pro wrestling talk.
Make sure you go and check out the Top Rope Report from Mr. Trivia and the Nugster on Facebook, TalkShoe, Spotify, Anchor, and we're almost hitting 200 subscribers on our YouTube channel, so I'd appreciate it if you guys went, and once we hit 200, I think I'm going to hold another contest. And don't forget about those t-shirts, alright? Hit the link in the description. This Sunday night, I'm going to be sitting down with Big Jim Anderson. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, probably anything from wrestling to punk rock to God knows what. And then, that's all I have planned for now. But there's definitely going to be content coming every single day, so keep an eye out and make sure you're here and listening to the PWZ.